everyone, welcome back. This is Terry from terryscraftroom.com. Today we're going to make this cute box, and guess what? So this box holds microwave popcorn. So it's perfect size for this, and this is another craft fair type project, spring craft fair, but you can certainly make this in fall and Christmas colors for, you know, the fall craft fair season too. But today we're using springy colors for spring craft fairs. So, and it has a Velcro closure, and it's real simple. So let's get started. So what do we need? We need a piece of Coastal Cabana cardstock. Let me back out just a hair. Coastal Cabana cardstock, and this is actually 8 1/8 by 11, so it's full length, and you just cut a hair off of this one side. And then we're using this DSP, and this is part of the Dandy Designs Mega Pack. It's a huge pack of paper. Look at that. And they're beautiful, beautiful sheets of paper in here. And this pack is a free with qualifying purchase, $100 US dollar purchase in our celebration through the end of February. It's a wonderful, wonderful set. It's got some beautiful beautiful papers in it. So, and if you want any of the product for this and you don't have a demonstrator, I would love it if you would choose me as your demonstrator, Terry Aldridge. Just type my name in when you're checking out, and it'll be brought up on the Stampin' Up! Website. But we need 2 pieces of designer series paper. They are 5 7/8, and this one is 5 7/8 by 3, and this one's 5 7/8 by 2. Easy measurements. And as always, if you miss the measurements, head on over to my blog post at terryscraftroom.com. I'll have a link directly below here in the description box, direct to this blog post, so that you'll have all the supplies lists and the measurements and score lines and everything over there. So we're going to put the short side across the top, so the 8 1/8 side across the top, and we are going to score at 1/2 inch and 1 inch. Then we're going to turn it around and score at 1/2 inch and 1 inch. And then we're going to put the long side across the top, and we are going to score at oh, let me see where my notes are. 2 1/4 and 2 3/4, and then 7 1/4. Make sure I'm in the frame here. And 7 3/4. That's all the scoring we've got. So we've got a large section and a small section. The small section, the 2 1/4 inch section, is our lid, and this is, so this section here is the 2 1/4 inch section, and this section here is the 2 3/4 inch section. So we need to remember that as we're moving along. So I'm going to fold and burnish all our score lines. Okay, so remember, this is our top, And so for the top section, we're going to cut out these 4 sections. Okay, so it's going to be a straight cut, and remember, when you do a straight cut, you want to cut away the score line, so I'm cutting on this side of this score line. Now I'm going to cut straight down this score line and cut away that score line again. And some people might find it easier to use a longer pair of scissors here, because you are going to see this. Let's say we're going to do the same thing on this side. We're going to cut out these 4 sections right here. Okay, so that's what we have so far. And we're going to jump down to, and not do anything to this middle section. We're going to jump down to the bottom section, and we're going to cut away these bottom 2. Okay, on both sides. Okay, and that leaves us with these little tabs on both sides, and what we're going to do is make them tabs. So I'm going to cut a straight line on this side of this score line, and that leaves me with this little tab, and I'm going to cut and miter. So I end up with that, and I'm going to do the same thing on this side. So straight in, and I'm going to get this piece out of the way. And then this is what you end up with. Okay? And here's the top, and here's the bottom. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my corner rounder, and I'm going to, since this is the top, I'm going to corner around the top, and I'm going to corner around the top part of these 2 as well. Now, these 2 are tricky for some corner rounders, and mine's one of them, because you can't get it all the way in, and the way you do that is if you bend this over at the score line, so we have a straight line here, then you can get this all the way in where you need it, and you can round that corner. And that's, there we have. Okay, so there we have our, now I'm going to turn this over, and we're going to put our designer series paper on. Now if you have a directional paper, you have to remember which way your flap is going. So because this flap you want, but I don't have a directional paper, so it doesn't really matter, but this flap you want going this way, because this would be the bottom, but this is the top, so this one you would want going this way. So that's just saying. Like I said, I don't have a directional paper, so it really doesn't matter, other than the fact that I've already rounded my corners on my top piece. And I'm putting this on when it's flat because it's easier to put on now than when it's all as a box and you're trying to have floppy areas. I guess is, you know, that's another Terryism. Floppy areas. Give it a good zhuzh. Okay, so I have my designer paper on. Now the next thing we're going to do is we're actually going to create the box. And this flap kind of gets in the way. So I just kind of bend it out of the way. And then we're going to put adhesive on our little tabs here. And we're going to bend it up just like that. And like I said in a past video, you want to make sure you get a nice crisp 90-degree angle, and the way you do that is with getting, you know, folding and burnishing really well with your bone folder. Okay, so now, so those one on the inside, whoops, that one didn't want to stick. Let's re-stick that one. Those tabs go on the inside, and now we're going to bend these tabs over, and this goes on the outside, like this. So I'm going to glue this to this tab here, but you notice that this tab goes above here, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a pencil and mark just a little bit under, so you can't see my mark, where to put my glue, and that way I know where my glue has to stop. And you certainly don't have to use wet glue, that is just my preference. You could use score tape for this, and just make sure you line up the edges here. Okay, and there's the basics of your box. Okay, so now we're going to get another popcorn here. So I'm going to slip, so here's where we rounded the other corners. Those corners we flipped back. Okay, so I'm going to slip the popcorn in the box. Okay, and the reason being, that way I have something to press on when I put my Velcro dots on here. I'm going to use 2 Velcro dots for the flap. And here's the other half. And this is the way you get it on so that you know that it's in the right place, is you put one side on, and then you put the other side attached to itself, the Velcro, and then you close it. And since they're adhesive, have adhesive on the backs of it, then when you put it down, they stick, and then you know they're where they're supposed to be. Okay, so let's make it pretty. I've got this, what's it called, lasting label punch, and I'm going to just take a piece of Coastal Cabana and punch a piece out, and I'm going to get a small length of ribbon, and I do believe this ribbon is retired, has been for some time, but I'm going to use a small length of ribbon, and that's probably about 3.5, 4 inches, and we're going to take some Stampin' Seal and put our ribbon down, and then this will go over it with some dimensionals. And when you're going over ribbon, you want to let the dimensionals go side so the ribbon can go down the center of your dimensionals. Okay, and then we need a piece of scrap basic white, and we are using the Celebrate here out of the Share a Milkshake, and that is in the January through May 2023 mini catalog. This is one of the stamp sets in that catalog, and we're just going to use the Celebrate from that. And if you have if you have an oval punch or the nesting ovals, just cut this out with that. I happen to have one of the old oval punches, I love punches. I will never get rid of my ovals and circles because they are wonderful things. And there we have it. An easy, quick popcorn holder. I hope you enjoyed today's project. If you did, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe below. Ring that bell so you get notified of all my new videos when they come out. And we'll see you next time. Bye!